Hi, this is Rohan again, and in this video we're going to be adding to our users section where they can choose the planet to journey to. So what we want to do first is, because remember we only have two planets here, which is kind of boring, but this is fine. So we want to give two options, and if you run this, we probably should have ran this last time to make sure everything was working, but if you run this you'll find that it says there are two planets to explore, because remember we added Mercury and Neptune, and then we said we'd make it less repetitive later because we don't want to add all the remaining six because that's a lot of work. So what we want to do is, remember we had here to do travel to random planet, uh, but so we should probably, instead of well, so remember we have our string here that we say. Remember we replaced this with a better thing called response to prompt. And so we can replace this with that. And so we're just handling this case right now. We're going to get rid of this to do, and we're going to knock out the other to do up here later. So remember we had this response to prompt up here, that it was a private function that gave us a string that so it printed this out, and then it gave us the string that the user typed in. So in this case, we're asking which planet would you like to visit, and then we're storing the user's input in planet name. And so what we probably want to do next is, to avoid having really ugly code up here and lots of reused code, we want to make a visit function. But for now, we can just assume that that visit function is going to exist in the near future, and then we can just say visit planet name. And then now we want to make that method visit. So we say private func visit, and just like we said before, we take in a parameter called planet name, and so that makes this work because, oh yeah, planet name. Yeah, so we want to say that we're visiting this planet name. And so now we're in our private function visit, and we want to visit the planet name that the user entered up here, that we got here, and then we called our visit method, and this is good separation of code because we might want to visit up here too, except we want to do a random planet name that time. So now we're visiting, and we probably just want to say, hey, we're traveling here, so let's do some quick boring stuff, easy stuff, and we want to say traveling to. And then remember string interpolation, we're saying traveling to planet name ... just to let the user know we're doing it. And remember our parameter name is planet. Our parameter is planet name, and it's a string, and it's being passed down into this as a variable into our visit method, and then we're gonna say we can travel to this place. But so now we could say if planet name equal Mercury, then we print out, oh, you've arrived on a very hot planet, blah blah blah. But we have this planetary system array, so if they mention the name of a planet, let's look through the planets that are in our planetary system, and then let's take them to the planet they mention. Okay, so to do that, we use a for loop. And first, what we're gonna use the traditional for loop that is used a lot in Java, and Java, C-based languages. It's not in Python. Python uses the next type of for loop, the for in statement that we're going to discuss just now. But for now, we're going to start with the traditional if statement. So this is for var. I'm going to type it out and first, and then explain it. So we're saying for var I, and then we're doing while I is less than planetary, and this is our planetary system object, and sorry, not the number of planets in there. remember, like before, planets is an array, and then count is the number of planets in that array. And we want to say I++. So actually this is getting old, and oh sorry, I plus equal 1. So this is a very old form of a for statement, and so I've actually sorry, I'm actually using Swift 3 and Xcode 8, and like I said, this is the traditional for statement, so no one actually uses this anymore. But just if you're wondering what we would do in this case, we would go through each index in that array where we have a count. Let's say it's 8 planets. So we start at 0. This is our initial condition. We separate each condition by, or each statement by a semicolon. This is our initial condition. This is our check condition that we check every time, and then this happens at the end of every execution. So it'll check, it'll do this every time, and so it'll go from 0 to 1, and then it'll check is 1 less than planetary system.count, or planets.count, and it's going to make sure that there are that many planets left. But we're not going to do this right now because there's actually a better way to do this in Swift. I was just doing this for maybe those who have done Java before, because that's the old way of doing it. So what we're going to do instead is say for planet in planetary. This is a much cleaner syntax, and this gets us the exact planet, and we get each planet in the array. So we just go through all the planets in that array, and inside this block over here, we have a variable called planet each time, and that's going to be a different planet each time, because it's going to go through each planet in that array. So we want to say, because we're in the block, we indent, and we want to say if planet name. Remember, the planet name is the parameter that we got from the user, and we want to say if planet name is equal to planet.name, then do something. But because this is looking through each planet in the planetary system, and we're checking whether that planet name, whether our user's planet name that they entered is equal to that planet's name, and we probably want to say you have arrived at planet.name, and we probably want to say so we're going to print out that you have arrived at planet name, and then we want to print out the description too. So, and then if we run this, so shall I go to randomly choose? Should I randomly choose a planet? We want to say no because we've only implemented the n section right now, so let's say n. So right now we're here. Name the planet you'd like to visit. And so let's say Mercury. And so it says traveling to Mercury. You have arrived at Mercury, a very hot planet closest to the sun. Remember, these are these are the descriptions and names that we set when we created the Mercury object and we added it to the array. Because basically, it looked through each element in that array and checked, is this element in the array, which is a planet, this planet, and is the name of that planet equal to the one the user entered? And if so, we print out this stuff. So let's say we said Neptune. See, in this case, we actually said traveling to planet name, but if you remember up here, we used capital N. So then we had lowercase n down here, and it actually didn't find it. So this never executed, even though it got to this place. like we can print out, say, print hi, and we can say that we got here. It'll show that we got here. See, like, so it looked through 2 planets because it looked through each planet. And what we can even do is print out the planet. Swift has a really good object printing, and so you'll see what I mean. So yeah, not that great, right? It was a joke. Okay, so we have 2 planets. It looks over 2 planets, but it finds that it's not not what we're looking for. But so if we say planet.name instead, okay, so we say it looked through Mercury first, and then it looked through Neptune, which is this is the right order, right? So in the next video, we're going to handle the case where the user enters something random. So and then we'll make it a bit more friendly.